And you know what he did? He ignored his enemies. He just didn't pay any attention to them. He didn't even respond to them. He talks to God instead. And I recommend this. I recommend ignoring your enemies. For one thing, it'll drive them crazy. They'll hate that when you do that. You know, isn't that one thing that our parents taught us or should have taught us? Probably most of our parents taught us. When people pick on you and when they bully you, ignore them and they'll stop. I mean, they'll keep picking for a little while, but it doesn't take very long before they realize, I can't get a rise out of this guy. I'm going to move on and start picking on somebody else. Some people never learned that lesson as a kid. Just ignore them. If you're going to let somebody hurt you every time they say some mean thing against you, you're always going to be hurt. You got to have some thick skin. And I did this recently. Someone just recently attacked me and accused me of being a greedy pastor, a greedy dog that coerces his people into giving him money. Yeah, somebody attacked me of this. Seriously. No, I'm not even joking. No, he did. Tore into me in an email. Of course, this guy knows nothing about me, doesn't know me, never met me, didn't bother to ask any questions or anything. He's read a couple of sermons, outlines or something that I did and assumed that he understood what I was talking about and apparently didn't. But anyway, really tore into me, slandered me, said a bunch of nasty stuff about me. And then he was nice enough to put the correspondence on his website for the whole world to read. And I responded briefly to one of the things he said, and then when he really tore into me, I just didn't respond. I just said, I don't have time or inclination to respond to all these slander and false accusations. I have better things to do. Now, if he slandered you, or if he slandered God, or was, arguing against the truth or something, that's different. But if he's just going to say nasty things about me, I've got better things to do than to defend myself. So I didn't. But I do feel bad for the poor guy, and I think I may actually call him up and see if he'll talk to me on the phone, because I read about him on his site, and I don't know. There might be some hope for the guy. You never know. So anyway, I may give him a call one of these days and see. But you don't have to defend yourself. When Jesus Christ was brought up before Pilate and the Jews accused him of all kinds of stuff and said all kinds of false things about him, you know what his defense was? Silence. He said nothing. You don't have to defend yourself. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. They just kept building, and they joined the walls together. They paid no attention, and that's why I didn't bother going through this guy's email point by point and saying, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you don't know what you're talking about. Why? I've got bigger things, I got more important things to do. Why would I waste my time with something like that? Well, this made their enemies even more furious, and they conspired to fight against them to hinder the rebuilding effort. So this makes people mad. When you won't respond to them, when you won't waste your time fighting with them, and you just keep doing the work that God's given you to do, this infuriates them even more. And that's why this guy comes back to, getting back to this other situation, he goes back to the thread after he'd posted it for a couple of weeks, and there were no more posts on there. A couple other people had some nice things to say too. Then he goes back, I was just thinking about this, and Wagner hasn't even responded to any of this, and he hasn't changed, and I'm thinking, man, you're still 2 weeks later and you're still thinking about this? It drives people crazy whenever you won't take the bait. Now they're going to try to distract him. And this is a good tactic. If you can get somebody distracted, well then, they're not going to get the work done. That's just like this guy I was telling you about. He wanted to waste my time. I don't know if that was his aim or not, but what would have happened if I would have spent 2 hours responding to this email, defending myself from a bunch of false accusations, what would that have proved? Nothing, because he probably wouldn't have been convinced anyway. It would have just been a big waste of my time. Nehemiah 6, 1 through 2. You know what he accused me of, by the way? I don't know why I'm talking about this. You know what, one of the things he accused me of? He said that he saw in my outline that you're supposed to give to the ministry, and that the pastor is also required to give to God. And so what I do is, when I pass the plate around here, you know the plate that we pass all the time, that I like put a gun to your head and make you put money in? You know that plate that doesn't exist in this church, right? That one? When I pass the plate around that doesn't exist to fund the church building that we don't have, right? What I do is, I take the money out of the plate, and then I tithe back to God by putting the money back in the plate. So I take money out of the plate that's given to me, and then I tithe back into the plate, but then it just goes back to me anyway. That's what I do. Did you know that? You were unaware of that. Go talk to this guy. He apparently knows what's really going on around here. This is the kind of nonsense I'm talking about.